Ahem. All right, just checking the microphone. Reminding everybody to like.
Even outside, it's packed.
That's right, but they won't know the show's here unless somebody hits like. We start later on Thursdays, so sometimes people get confused.
I like finding number 2.
Harumph.
I don't want anything that's good.
Yeah, that's the problem with those folks. Could it be that I'm do?
Peace through strength on the earth beyond. Purge the anti-Semitism and pro-terrorism. What you're doing? He can do things with his tongue you wouldn't believe it.
Fluffy pillows kiss my ass.
Burmese executives. So this Burmese, they say, pronounce it Burmese. Here I am like an idiot. Free health care for illegal, look. Here I am like an idiot.
All right, let's do this. Is it working? Yes, I think that's there. And then push that button. Go, silly button. Oh, screw it, I'll do it myself. Hi, there you are. Welcome, chat room. Will the chat button work? No, it's gonna take a minute for it to wake up, and then it'll realize that you guys are there, though. Hi. Oh my gosh. The number of people. I mean, amazing.
Even outside, it's packed.
That's right. Yeah. You know, I'm starting to think, and this isn't my ego talking, but I think there's more people outside of our chat room than there are inside the chat room. I'm just saying. Yeah. Sure. Yeah, that works. Again, I don't want to brag, but I think personally, there are more people that aren't watching the show right now than are at any given moment. Technically speaking. Just, I mean, somebody will have to check my math at some point. I mean, obviously, I'm willing to be wrong in this. I just don't think I am. I think I have the same numbers outside my chat room that Trump has outside his rallies. I'm just saying the number of people not at a Trump rally right now is actually, I mean, in all fairness, there are more people not watching a Trump live than there are people watching me live right now. So I win. Yeah. No, I didn't trim my hair again. It's just all in the back. I was just putting on a jacket. Hi. Everybody gets so concerned. No, it's welcome to the show. How are you? Hi, how's it going? Denise, good to see you in Canada. Or as the Chinese would say, Canada. That's right. That's how you pronounce Canada in Chinese. America is Megua. England is Ugwa. Germany is Dugwa because of Deutschland, I presume. But Canada's the funniest one, I think. It's the closest to it, Anyways, Chicago, Chicago. New York, New Year. However, it's Seattle, Seattle. But San Francisco, Jiujinshan. Doesn't sound anything like it. Well, that's because it stands for Old Gold Mountain because of the gold rush. It had its own name. There you go. Now they're into the Chinese lesson. I wish I had time. I wish I had time to actually go into the sort of shitstorm that is the Chinese economy right now. But it can wait because it's not going to change. It's just going to keep that it's bad. It's been bad. It's getting fucking way worse. Yes, and Andrea, Biden was exonerated in the documents case. Again, nobody's surprised by that. And also, we will jump into this, but This jackass interviewed Vladimir Putin. Now, I started watching some of it. It's 2 hours long. And so I'm not going to do it live on this show because I don't want to get into it. But I do want to, I want to show you the opening of this. What's the best way to learn Mandarin? The same as any other language. Find a movie that you like that's been translated into that language, or a movie from there that's been translated into English that you really like, and then watch it over and over again with the lines from the movie in English with subtitles, or in the other language with the English subtitles, back and forth until you basically have the whole thing memorized. It works like a charm. It's the modern equivalent of immersion. And then actually you'll go, oh, I can see why back in the day, 3 months you live with a tribe and suddenly you speak the language, and it's like, because you had to. Right. Anyways, where were we? Oh, yes. This dickhead ended up interviewing with Vladimir Putin. I would like to show you something. Vladimir Putin goes on for something like 45 minutes on like relitigating World War II and basically saying Poland is the reason Ukrainians think they're a people, because they sided with Hitler. The way he breezes past the Molotov-Ribbentrop treaty, agreement, like the Soviet Union and Nazis didn't have a fucking pact to fuck Europe out of existence, and blames it all on Poland, is hilarious. But apparently, this dipshit has no idea that he's talking to a former KGB agent. Because watch how he talks about this. There was no time limit on this interview.
The following is an interview with the president of Russia, Vladimir Putin.
Dictator of Russia, because, these aren't legit elections at all. His biggest opposition from the last election is in fucking jail because he sought medical help after he was poisoned.
Shot February 6, 2024 at about 7 p.m. in the building behind us, which is, of course, the Kremlin.
Of course.
The interview, as you will see if you watch it, is primarily about the war in progress, the war in Ukraine, how it started, what's happening.
Well, how it started apparently in 1920.
And most presently, how it might end. One note before you watch. At the beginning of the interview, we asked the most obvious question, which is, why did you do this? Did you feel a threat, an imminent physical threat? And that's your justification. And the answer we got shocked us. Putin went on for a very long time, probably.
I realized about 2 minutes in that I was talking to a crazy man who regularly murders people he doesn't like. And I spent the rest of the interview managing my heartbeat.
Half an hour about the history of Russia going back to the 8th century. And honestly, we thought this was a filibustering technique and found it annoying and interrupted him several times. And he responded he was annoyed. Also,
who the fuck is we? Again with the fucking we all the time. Jesus Christ. You interviewed him. Was somebody cueing you? Say we again, motherfucker. Say we again. You're by your fucking self. You don't have an earpiece in. Who the fuck are you talking about? We. Say we again, motherfucker. Say we again. Unless you're speaking French, you better not. You better not.
Annoyed by the interruption. But we concluded.
You know what? He's annoying me so much, I'm kind of liking it. I'm starting to get aroused. Just fucking. Maybe he says we because he's thinking about his dick. We. Shut the fuck up. We. You're by yourself, you dumb son of a bitch.
In the end, for what it's worth, that it was not a filibustering technique. There was no time limit on the interview. We ended it after.
We ended it? Yeah, you fucking... Your Nintendo controllers ran out of battery? Is that how they fucking... How you weed your way out of it? We ended it because you had to take a piss? Is that what you mean? Is that what this wee shit is about? You had to take a wee? This motherfucker... weaponized your bladder against you? Say we again, you dumb. Hey, you fucking moron.
After more than 2 hours.
Because they had given us lots of iced tea right before the interview.
Instead, what you're about to see seemed to us sincere, whether you agree with it or not.
Sincerely nuts.
Vladimir Putin believes that Russia has a historic claim to parts of western Ukraine.
Citation fucking needed. It couldn't possibly be that you're a dough-headed dipshit who literally just got yammered at until it shut you down. Look at this fucker's face. There's, the freeze frames always tell the truth, don't they?
So our opinion would be to view it in that light, as a sincere expression of what he thinks.
Why? Why? He's a former KGB head who bombed an apartment building in Moscow on fucking purpose. It wasn't Moscow, Phil will let me know. On purpose, so that he could use terrorism to get into office, and then he's basically jailed everybody that he's been up against, and he's been fucking shooting, blowing up, or pushing his the oligarchs that would have a chance at taking over out fucking windows. They fucking killed this one guy's entire fucking family in front of him and then blew his goddamn brains out. Why the fuck would I ever believe a word that comes out of the mouth of a former KGB agent that became the president of Russia? You fucking tit. Why? Ever? I got news for you, Tucker. We choose to be a little more skeptical than thee.
And with that, here it is. Mr. President, thank you. On February 22nd...
Thank you for what? Did he just... What happened right before the camera started rolling? Why are you thanking him? You didn't say thank you for being here, so did he just... Was it the hand job or the reach around or... or was he just particularly gentle?
In 2022, you addressed your country in a nationwide address when the conflict in Ukraine started.
Mm-hmm. And then in that address, you addressed some of the things that you were going to address in that address.
And you said that you were acting because you had come to the conclusion that the United States, through NATO, might initiate...
Also, Trump, take fucking notes. There's a table between them with some actual shit on it. Like, they're probably going to take sips of water from those cups. Obviously, Tucker's is see-through because he somehow thinks that the KGB doesn't have clear poisons available to him, or he's put some sort of mixture in his drink that it turns blue if somebody tries to roofie him. Meanwhile, you'll notice the opaque cup that Putin is drinking out of, so no one knows just how much vodka is left.
Initiate a, quote, surprise attack on our country. And to American ears, that sounds paranoid. Tell us why you believe the United States might strike Russia out of the blue. How did you conclude that?
It's not that America, the United States, was going to launch a surprise strike on Russia.
Also, just get used to that face, because that's he's doing double buttocks. He's got double butt cracks in his brow the entire fucking thing.
Didn't say that. Are we having a talk show or a serious conversation?
Here's the...
Does this asshole even watch Trump talk? Doesn't he know that if Putin doesn't like the way you smile at him, he'll kill you?
The quote. Thank you. It's a formidable serious talk.
Because your basic education is in history, as far as I understand.
Yes.
So if you don't mind, I will take only 30 seconds or 1 minute to give you a short reference to history for giving...
By the way, the 30 seconds or a minute went on for a half an hour.
You a little historical background.
Please.
Let's look where our relationship with Ukraine started from. Where did Ukraine come from?
The
The Russian state started gathering itself as a centralized statehood And it is considered to be the year of the establishment of the Russian state in 862, when the townspeople of Novgorod invited a Varangian prince, Rurik, from Scandinavia.
Yeah, this will only take about 30 seconds. Let's do a quick begin. I just want to tell you a little bit about myself. My father's sperm left his penis early in the spring of 1948 and traveled down the shaft at a reasonable speed, not too fast, into my mother's vagine. At that point, there was a lot of noise and stuff, but basically over the course of a few months, cells began to divide. just so you know where I'm coming from. Then, about 7-8 months into it, my fingers are really visible. They didn't have ultrasound at this time, but would be at that time, and that's when I learned how to count on my own, of course. And fucking hell.
Scandinavia terrain. In 1862, Russia celebrated the 1000th anniversary of its statehood.
Which, if you haven't been counting, because I said 862, 1862, you would see is 1,000 years. You don't have to trust my math. Do your own math. So anyways, so my mother pushes me out onto the floor of a cabin. And next thing you know, I'm graduating high school with a knife in my hand, a diploma in the other, and a big smile on my face.
And in Novgorod, there is a memorial dedicated to the 1000th anniversary of the country,
which is totally legit and has absolutely been there this whole time and isn't a replica and isn't bullshit revisionist history. And if you don't believe us, you can go down there and carbon-14 date the fucking thing. But I mean, we've had to fix it a few times. So obviously the stone is, if you checked it against other stone, it'd be from, the mid-70s. But
in 882, Rurik's success.
Anyways, where was I? Graduating high school. Anyways, so next, let me take you back. So I'm learning the crawl. You get the point. And at the point that I'm learning the crawl, there's a whole playpen in front of me. There are other kids. It's a preschool. I start killing those other kids, right? And so therefore, basically the pen basically becomes mine.
Sir, Prince Oleg, who was actually playing the role of regent at Rurik's younger son, because Rurik had died by that time, came to Kiev.
I don't know if anybody's keeping... This has got to be more than 30 seconds at this point. Right, gotta.
He ousted two brothers who apparently had once been members of Rurik's squad.
So, if you don't get my point, we decided that the squad was very dangerous. And when America formed its own squad, we kept seeing news stories about squad. We're like, oh, fuck, the czars are coming back. So we had to, I'm just fucking with you. Anyways, 1885, there was a, let me go back to 885, because you're going to miss some stuff.
So
there's too much, there's not enough time. Let me explain. No, it's too much. Let me sum up.
Russia began to develop with two
Humperdinck is marrying Buttercup in little less than half an hour.
centers of power, Kiev and Novgorod. The next very significant date in the history of Russia was 988. This was the baptism of Russia.
Really? When was it circumcised? That's what I want to know. Also, this is the moment in the interview where you're like, fuck, this dude watches a lot of YouTube.
And Prince Vladimir, the great-grandson of Rurik, baptized Russia and adopted Orthodoxy, or Eastern Christianity. From this time, the centralized Russian state began to strengthen.
Psst. Psst. Wrap it up. I'm through.
Why? Because of the single territory, integrated economic ties, one and the same language, and, after the baptism of Russia, the same faith and rule of the prince. The central...
Which, by the way, yeah, once that happened, basically anybody that was out in the woods that wasn't ruled by our particular church. So, I mean, obviously... How'd you become king? I didn't vote for you. You don't vote for kings.
Russian state began to take shape. Back in the Middle Ages,
it's a long fucking 30 seconds.
Prince Yaroslav the Wise introduced the order.
Prince Yaroslav the Wise? There are those who call me Tim.
Of succession to a throne. But after he passed away, it became complicated for various reasons.
Yeah, so you don't really have to go into it then. You know, I'll just take your word for it. Complicated, blah, 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 blah. Let's get to 2022.
The throne was passed not directly from father to eldest son, but from the prince who had passed away to his brother, then to his sons in different lines. All this led to the fragmentation and the end of Rus as a single state.
Yes, of course.
There was nothing special about it. The same was happening then in Europe.
That's right.
But the fragmented Russian state became an easy prey to the empire created earlier by Genghis Khan.
We must know what is happening.
His successors, namely Batu Khan, came to rule.
This they all teach us in Russian Air Academy. We know this. Why are you not... Speak. What the fuck?
Plundered and ruined nearly...
Seriously, dude, you're boring the fuck out of me. We got... The plane is freezing on the fucking runway. Jesus Christ.
All the cities. The southern part, including Kiev, by the way, and some other cities, simply lost independence, while northern cities preserved some of their sovereignty. They had to pay tribute to the horde, but they managed to preserve some part of their sovereignty.
Yes, and they failed.
And then a unified Russian state began to take shape with its center in Moscow.
I don't know what I'm doing.
The southern part of Russia...
Sorry, I'm just fucking around. Like, I used to have a Russian hat somewhere in this shit, and I don't know where it went. God damn it.
Russian lands, including Kiev, began to gradually gravitate towards another magnet, the center that was...
Seriously, I look like one... I don't even look like a Russian officer. I look like Chip Z'Nuff from Enough's Enough during COVID. How's this fucking supposed to be Russian other than the fucking hat? This is just goddamn depressing.
Was emerging in Europe.
Information came about her suddenly, I living without her, turn my stereo applauding. I don't want to think, get high, 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 high on the new thing, get high. Alright, that stop me before I start singing fucking Flying High Michelle. Back in the USSR.
Europe.
I'm seriously, this fucker is boring the shit out of me.
This was the Grand Duchy.
Wait, what? Was there always a... See that door behind him? That door was that always cracked open? Also, look at that sad dark clock. The lights are dimmed in the back of this. God damn. I hope Tucker's wearing a diaper, because this is scary shit.
Of Lithuania. It was even called the Lithuanian-Russian Duchy, because Russians were a significant part of this population. They spoke the old Russian language and were Orthodox.
That's how they get you. Wake up! That's how they get you.
But then there was a unification, the union of the Grand Duchy of Lithuania and the Kingdom of Poland. A few years later, another union was signed, but this time already in the religious sphere.
Sure.
Some of the Orthodox priests became subordinate to the Pope. Thus, these lands became part of the Polish-Lithuanian state.
Okay, so Poland has a right to your land, so shut the fuck up, I guess. All right, let's just cut it right there. You know what? Since history starts whenever fucking people randomly decide right now, we'll just assume Russia is Poland's, and we'll just defer to the Polish president on what we should do with you, because you're obviously an unlawful resident of Poland at this point, I guess.
During decades, the Poles
By the way, yes, there is, in a roundabout way, he's saying Poland's next.
were engaged in Polonization of this part of the population.
The Polandization of this part of the world.
They introduced their language there, tried to entrench the idea that this population was not exactly Russians, that because they lived on the fringe, they were Ukrainians. Originally, the word Ukrainian meant that a person was living on the outskirts of the state, along the fringes, or was engaged in a border patrol service. It didn't.
Really? So you guys did the Voldemort to starve the people in the fucking nether regions?
Mean any particular ethnic group.
Explain to us how the Netherlands got their name.
So the Poles were trying to, in every possible way, to colonize this part of the Russian lands, and actually
Polonize? I see. So it was all Polish bees that were doing this.
treated it.
Oh, by the way, like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show if you can. That'd be lovely. Patreon.com/HouseBarks. I forgot to do all that shit. There's the Venmo. Anyways, here we go.
Rather harshly, not to say cruelly. All that led to the fact that this part of the Russian lands began to struggle for their rights. They wrote letters
At that point, they had to fight for the right for party. Not two party, that's different. For party, you know, the Russian party, the USSR.
to Warsaw demanding that their rights be observed and people be commissioned here, including to Kiev.
I beg your pardon, can you tell us what period, I'm losing track of where in history we are, the Polish oppression of Ukraine?
It was in the third.
Get me back to the whole Polish oppression of Ukraine. Tell me that part again.
century.
Вот, в 13 веке. Это было в 13 веке. Значит, и...
Now I will tell you what happened later.
Great, thank you. Yeah, much later. How about, let me tell you, like, let me give you a ballpark of later. How about 2 decades after the turn of the most recent millennium? Be a good time to...
Даты, чтобы не было.
I would be careful, Mr. President. He's a little bit drunk.
And give the dates so that there is no confusion.
Well, yes. Is Glenn Beck watching this with his chalkboard?
1600.
There will be a test later.
And in 1654,
Oh, God.
even a bit earlier,
Чуть раньше даже.
Just for the record, if you're justifying sending your rape squads into a nearby country that's been its own country since the beginning of the 90s, don't go back to the 1600s to justify it, because fuck you.
Люди, которые контролировали власть.
the people who were in control of the authority over that part of the Russian lands
Чтобы присылали к ним
addressed Warsaw, I repeat, demanding that they send them to rulers of Russian origin and Orthodox faith. When Warsaw did not answer them, and in fact rejected their demands, they turned to Moscow, so that Moscow took them away.
Yeah, did you get all that? You know, I'm starting to, a little more of this, and it's gonna make Trump sound like he knows what the fuck he's talking about.
Winston Churchill stood on the rooftops in London, very calm, making speeches. Winston Churchill. He meant explosive in terms of fire. This isn't the let's read the book school.
No, this is not let's read the book school.
Чтобы вы не думали, что я что-то придумал.
Bring over the history books. I'll just let you read them.
So that you don't think that I'm inventing things.
Asshole. Seriously. Bringing over Russian history books isn't... That's... What the ever-loving fuck?
I'll give you these documents.
Well, it doesn't sound like you're inventing it. I'm not sure why it's relevant to what happened 2 years ago.
Но все-таки.
But
I'm not sure why it's relevant what happened 2 years ago. It's not, but you have to understand. We reserve the right to conquer people based on how people were conquered in the 14th century pretty much any time we want, no matter how civilized society has gotten. Fuck that. We will always be willing to cross any border, club any baby, you know, kill any man, rape any woman, because it is our way.
still,
Документы из архива.
these are documents from the archives, copies.
Здесь письма на Богдана.
Here,
Uh-huh. Yeah, show them the document where you sold Alaska that you tore it up. Right. We have a copy if you want to see it.
the letters from Bogdan Khmelnytsky,
Контролировал власть в этой
the
части.
man
Oh, well, shit. Fuck the Constitution, then. He's got fucking letters from Bogdan Khmelnytsky. Why didn't you say so?
who then controlled the power in this part of the Russian
Он
lands
писал в Варшаву.
that is now called
Oh, you mean when China owned half your country before you fought a war and took it from them? So they can just come back and get it, I guess, because they've got paper from about the same time that says that land is theirs. I mean, so basically you're just saying if they wanted to, China could just take half your country then. Cool. All right. Well, I'm glad. Let's just jump to that part where any country that used to have a piece of you, like Poland, could take Moscow, obviously, because they have paperwork that says that before you have this paperwork, they had that paperwork, and it's all written on. And then if China wanted to, they could just go, because they have paperwork, they have maps that was China, and so fuck it, I guess, right?
Ukraine.
А после того, как
He wrote to
получил,
Warsaw
точно
demanding
писать
that their
письма
rights be
в Москву
upheld.
с просьбой взять их.
And after being refused, he began to write letters to Moscow.
Whoa. Okay. He sounds like a weirdo who was mad his favorite show was canceled.
asking to take them under the strong hand of the Moscow Tsar.
If you know what I'm saying to you, if you like that kind of thing, and you don't.
There are copies of these documents. I will leave them for your good memory. There is a translation into Russian. You can translate it into English later.
Потому что
Yeah, on your own, when in your free time.
Russia would not agree to admit them straight away, assuming that the war with Poland would start. Nevertheless, in 1654, the Pan-Russian Assembly of top clergy and landowners, headed by the Tsar,
часть древнерусских земель вошла
which was the representative body of the power of the old
I gotta, yeah, again, as 30 seconds go, this is
Russian state, decided to include a part of the old Russian lands into Moscow Kingdom.
перемирие было заключено.
As expected, the war with Poland began.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, probably because of the letters, right? Because they sent a bunch of letters like, "Hey, I don't want war with you," but they wrote them in Russian, and the Polish refused or didn't know how to speak Russian at that time, or were like, "What the fuck is this?" And they probably didn't even, and then they were like, "I think they're fucking with us. This just looks like scribble."
It lasted
Yeah, Ancient Pollyanna, this is the interview. This is genuinely the fucking interview.
13 years, and then in 1654,
По-моему, 2
a
года
truce was concluded.
мир с Польшей. Вечный мир, как это было.
And 32 years later, I think, a peace treaty with Poland, which they called Eternal Peace, was signed.
The ironically named Eternal Peace, sure.
Отошла к России.
And these lands, the whole left bank of Dnieper, including Kiev, went to Russia.
Затем во времена
And the whole right bank of Dnieper remained in
Россия
Poland.
вернула все
Right, so that part of Ukraine, what he's saying is the Donbass is Russia, but Poland took Ukraine and bullshitted these people into thinking they were Ukrainians instead of Polish, whatever. The fuck?
все исторические земли.
Under the rule of Catherine the Great, Russia reclaimed all of its historical lands, including in the south and west.
Да, а вот
This all lasted until
If this motherfucker's making the case that he only wants this side of the Dnieper, the part that includes Crimea, because that's the traditional lands, and everything, the rest of that can go fuck itself, and if they just let him keep this part, this sounds like a talk down. This sounds like the talking point of this whole fucking thing. This bullshit filibuster, which is actually what it is him justifying the current war border, that he's selling this to his own people and probably to the right-wingers in the United States, that he'll stop, like, the border that they have is really all they wanted. They attacked Kiev just to scare them into not trying to take back the Russian part of the land. And the Dnieper, everything, east of the Dnieper is actually Russia. And so they're going to keep Crimea and Luhansk and Donetsk and all that shit. And that's if this is actually a fucking attempted psyop at all, that's what it is.
Till the revolution. Before World War
Sounds like an excuse for why he isn't going to get the rest of Ukraine and what he's going to tell his own fucking people.
I, Austrian General Staff relied on the ideas of Ukrainianization and started actively promoting
The fucking Austrians. I knew it.
the ideas of Ukraine.
This is because at that point, and then at some point the Austrians found a way where they went to America and then they annexed part of California by placing an agent that they'd snuck into the United States using the kind of 80s and 70s as a way to sneak people in with the thing, and then they became the California governor. And then of course his mind was then poisoned with the Americanism, and the plot failed. But still, basically California is Austrian at this point,
And the Ukrainianization.
Ukrainianization.
мировой войны, конечно, было стремление ослабить потенциал.
Their motive was obvious. Just before World War I, they wanted to weaken the potential enemy and secure themselves favorable conditions in the border area. So the idea which had emerged in Poland,
Yet the Austrians and the Germans are different people. They use the same language, and there's a little bleed back and forth, but this is not it. Anyways.
that people residing in that territory were allegedly not really Russians, but rather belonged to a special ethnic group, Ukrainians, started being propagated by the Austrian General Staff.
Которые говорили необходимо.
Which are basically Nazis because they speak Bavarian German or whatever.
As far back as the 19th century, theorists calling for Ukrainian independence appeared.
Украинской независимости говорили.
All those, however, claimed that Ukraine should have a very good relationship with Russia.
Настаивали.
They insisted on that.
После революции 1917 года
After the 1917 revolution,
Maybe I have been baited over here. Maybe there's a person sneaking up behind me with a bag and a gun. Maybe if I do it quietly, he won't hear me shitting my pants with fear. When will this stop? Or is this just a way of lulling me into a false sense of security? Because isn't boredom the purest form of relaxation? Isn't... Jesus.
старались восстановить государственность. Развернулась гражданская.
the Bolsheviks sought to restore the statehood, and the civil war began, including the hostilities with Poland.
В Польше в 1921 году, которые
And then the worst could happen. We were hit by the kidney.
But I digress.
по которым западные
In 1921, peace with Poland was proclaimed, and under that treaty, the right
Which worked out great, by the way.
bank of Dnieper River once again was given back to Poland.
в 1939
In 1939, after Poland cooperated with Hitler,
сотрудничала с Гитлером, а Польша сотрудничала.
it did collaborate with Hitler, Hitler offered Poland peace and a treaty of friendship.
В архивах есть. Предлагал
That didn't work out very well either, did it?
с Польшей
An alliance demanding in return that Poland give back to Germany the so-called Danzig corridor, which connected the bulk of
Mother! Look, I don't want to hear it. He references Danzig several times. I have no doubt. Just enough with the fucking Danzig and it dry. I'm fine with it. Mother! Tell your children not to walk Poland's way.
Tell your children not to listen to Putin, what they hear, what they say. Mother!
Germany with East Prussia and Königsberg.
Основную часть Германии с
And this when Russia started to swirl bowl, as we say.
Königsbergом и с Восточной Пруссией.
After World War I, this territory was transferred to Poland, and instead of Danzig, a city of Dansk emerged.
Mother! Sorry, it just triggers whenever he says.
И вместо Данцига появился.
Hitler asked them to give it amicably, but they refused.
Isn't that weird? Hitler tried to be nice, okay? I think that's the takeaway. Hitler did his best to be nice to Poland, but clearly, I'm going to say there was a group in Poland that was influencing the government that if they were just, let's say, out of the way and perhaps in a structure of sorts, an encampment, I guess we could use, where you could take those people and you could concentrate them, then you could separate them out, then you could have a reasonable conversation with Poland,
Of course.
Still, they collaborated
Of course. Yeah, Jews, right, we get it.
with Hitler and engaged together.
But wait a minute. Can we don't back the fuck up. Give me 1 second. This motherfucker.
It amicably, but they refused.
Of course.
Listen, the one interjection from Tucker Carlson is when Putin says Hitler tried amicably, but they refused.
Hitler asked them to give it amicably, but they refused.
Of course.
Still, they collaborated.
Of course, Hitler was, according to Tucker Carlson, an amicable guy. He was trying to be liked. He was just, he put all of his cards on the table and his one nut, and the Polish were like dicks to him about this, and probably because the Jews are whispering there, obviously.
With Hitler and engaged together in the partitioning of Czechoslovakia.
But may I ask you, you're making the case that Ukraine, certainly parts of Ukraine, Eastern Ukraine, is in effect Russia has been for hundreds of years. Why wouldn't you just take it when you became president 24 years ago? You have nuclear weapons, they don't. If it's actually your land, why did you wait so long?
I'll tell you. I'm coming to that.
Oh boy.
This briefing is coming to an end. It might be boring, but it explains many things.
I just don't know how it's relevant.
Good. Good. I'm so
Good. I don't want you to know why it's relevant. You understand me. Your question, why does this make sense or have any meaning whatsoever? Exactly. Slow your roll, Mr. Smarty.
so gratified that you appreciate that. Thank you.
I'm so glad you appreciate the lack of relevance.
So, before World War II, Poland collaborated with Hitler, and although it did not yield to Hitler's demands, it still participated in the partitioning of Czechoslovakia.
Jesus Christ. So the Molotov-Ribbentrop agreement is Poland's fault?
Together with Hitler, as the Poles had not given the Danzig corridor to Germany.
Mother! Sorry, it's going to happen every time.
It went too far, pushing
I'm sorry if I'm scaring anybody's cat with that.
Hitler to start World War II by attacking them. Why was it Poland against whom the war started on 1st September 19...
Because they had it coming, and probably too many Jews. Too many. They had to do a lot, they like some Jews are bad, but a lot of Jews are worse.
39? Poland turned out to be uncompromising, and Hitler
Fuckers.
had nothing to do but start implementing his plans with Poland.
Yeah, he had nothing. What was he going to do? Let him be?
Like an asshole?
Советский Союз
By the way, the USSR, I have read some archive documents, behaved very honestly.
свои войска на помощь Чехословакии.
It asked Poland's permission to transit its troops through the Polish territory to help Czechoslovakia.
Было сказано, что если даже советские
But
самолеты
the then Polish foreign minister said that if the Soviet planes flew over Poland, they would be downed over the territory of Poland.
война началась.
But that doesn't matter. What matters is that the war began, and Poland
Yeah, it just began.
fell prey to the policies it had pursued against Czechoslovakia, as under the well-known Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact.
Yeah, the well-known one. You mean the pact between Hitler and the USSR? Sure.
Part of the territory, including western Ukraine, was to be given to Russia.
Right. That was your deal with Hitler.
Thus, Russia, which was then named as USSR, regained its historical lands.
From Hitler
Победы
for helping him by letting him attack Poland.
After the victory in the Great Patriotic War, as we call World War II,
эти территории окончательно были
all those territories were ultimately enshrined as belonging to Russia,
Польша
to the USSR.
при этой компетенции
Well, only because the United States, through its Lend-Lease program, allowed Russia to fight off the Germans. You're welcome. Where you left out that whole part where you'd be speaking German and we didn't make you speak English.
компенсации, так надо полагать.
As for Poland, it received, apparently in compensation, the lands which had originally been German.
Это западная, восточную часть.
Right. Yeah. Excellent point, Doc in Paradise. Get to the point where the USSR no longer fucking exists.
The eastern parts of Germany,
земель.
these are now western lands of Poland.
Сегодня. Ну, естественно, и опять вернули.
Of course, Poland regained access to the Baltic Sea and
Of course.
Danzig,
Данцик, который опять стал
Mother!
which was once again given its Polish name.
Вот таким образом сложилось.
So,
Wasn't called a German name, or I mean a Russian name anymore. Now, and then that's got it. So, wait. So this is about Germany regaining its lands back and Russia getting lands that were taken by Germany earlier. Fucking
this
hell.
was how this situation
При
developed.
формировании Советского Союза, это уже 1900.
In 1922, when the USSR was
Sorry, Tucker. Deal with it. You're talking to a crazy man.
being established,
Большевики начали формировать
the
СССР.
Bolsheviks started building the USSR and established the Soviet Ukraine, which had never existed before.
Который до сих пор вообще
Right.
не существовало. При этом Сталин настаивал,
Stalin insisted that those republics be included in the USSR as
входили в качестве автономных образований.
autonomous entities.
Основатель советского государства Ленин настоял.
For some inexplicable reason, Lenin, the founder of the Soviet state, insisted that they be entitled to withdraw from the USSR.
Like an asshole. Look at that. This guy starts the country and says, yeah, Ukraine's actually a country. There's enough of those people there, and they speak their own language, and it's like, yeah, they can be. It's not like there's going to be any farming there in the future. Lenin was a brilliant guy. Brilliant tactician. I mean, as brilliant as you have to be when you can just order your rivals murdered.
Наделил
And
образующуюся.
again, for some
Am I talking to one of his doubles right now?
unknown reasons, he transferred to that newly established Soviet Republic of Ukraine some of the lands together with people living there, even though those lands had never been called Ukraine, and yet they were made part of that Soviet Republic of Ukraine.
Okay. Oh, Biden's on? News conference? Okay, hold on one second. I will go back to, is the chat room working? There you are. Let me see if I can, I'm going to pause this.
Those lands
at this
include-
point. Shut the fuck up, Putin, you prick, you bastard. Biden live. Okay, we're going to give me 1 second. I'll bring him up.
Between Mr. Trump's case and Mr. Biden's are clear. Continuing to quote, most notably.
Here we go. This is about the. Here we go. This is the live feed from PBS NewsHour. Bring out. Layout is. There's a little bit of an intro. I'm totally going to grab a still from this later and be doing so. Here you go.
Let me say a few things before I take your questions. As you know, the special counsel released his findings today about their look into my handling of classified documents. I was pleased to see he reached a firm conclusion that no charges should be brought against me in this case. This was an exhaustive investigation going back more than 40 years, even into the 1970s when I was still a new United States Senator. The special counsel acknowledged I cooperated completely. I did not throw up any roadblocks. I sought no delays. In fact, I was so determined to give the special counsel what he needed, I went forward with a 5-hour in-person interview over 2 days on October the 8th and 9th of last year, even though Israel had just been attacked by Hamas on the 7th and I was very occupied. It was in the middle of handling an international crisis. I was especially pleased to see special counsel make clear the stark distinction and difference between this case and Mr. Trump's case. The special counsel
Mr. Trump. Oh, that's got to hurt.
Counsel wrote, and I quote, several material distinctions between Mr. Trump's case and Mr. Biden's are clear, continuing to quote, most notably, after given multiple chances to return classified documents to avoid prosecution, Mr. Trump allegedly did the opposite. According to the indictment, he not only refused to return the documents for many months, he also obstructed justice by enlisting others to destroy evidence and then to lie about it. In contrast, he went on to say Mr. Biden turned in classified documents to the National Archives and the Department of Justice, consented to the search of multiple locations, including his home, sat for a voluntary interview, and in other ways cooperated with the investigation, end of quote. I've seen the headlines since the report was released about my willful retention of documents. These assertions are not only misleading, they're just plain wrong. On page 215, if you had a chance, I know it's a thick document. On page 215, the report of the special counsel found the exact opposite. Here's what he wrote. There is, in fact, a shortage of evidence that I willfully retained classified materials related to Afghanistan. On page 12, the special counsel also wrote, for another documents, the decision to decline criminal charges was straightforward. The evidence suggests that Mr. Biden did not willfully retain these documents. The evidence said I did not willfully retain these documents. In addition, I know there's some attention paid to some language in the report about my recollection of events. There's even reference that I don't remember when my son died. How in the hell dare he raise that? Frankly, when I was asked the question, I thought to myself, it wasn't any of their damn business. Let me tell you something. Some of you have commented, I wear since the day he died, every single day, the rosary he got from Our Lady of...
He doesn't want to get into it. By the way, that's the one he was touching at the when the troops came back and everybody said he looked at his watch.
Every Memorial Day we hold a service remembering him, attended by friends and family and the people who loved him. I don't need anyone to remind me when he passed away or if he passed away. Simple truth is I sat for a 5-hour interview over 2 days of events going back 40 years. At the same time I was managing an international crisis, their task was to make a decision about whether to move forward with charges in this case. That's their decision to make. That's the counsel's decision to make. That's his job. And they decided not to move forward. For any extraneous commentary, they don't know what they're talking about. It has no place in this report. The bottom line is the matter is now closed. I'm going to continue what I've always focused on, my job of being President of the United States of America. Now, thank you, and I'll take some questions.
President Biden, something the special counsel said in his report is that
It's deucey.
one of the reasons you were not charged is because in his description, you are a well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory.
I'm well-meaning, and I'm an elderly man, and I know what the hell I'm doing. I've been president. I put this country back on its feet. I don't need his recommendation. It's
How
totally
bad
out.
is your memory, and can you continue as president?
My memory is so bad, I let you speak. That's
Your memory has gotten worse, Mr.
No,
President.
look, my memory is not good. My memory is fine. My memory, take a look at what I've done since I become president. None of you thought I could pass any of the things I got passed. How'd that happen? You know, I guess I just forgot what was going on.
Mr. President.
If voters have concerns about your age, how are you going to assuage them? And do you fear that this report is only going to fuel further concerns about your age?
Only by some of you.
Mr. President,
cleared up criminal liability today. But do you take responsibility for at least being careless with classified material?
I take responsibility for not having seen exactly what my staff was doing. It goes in and points out things that appeared in my garage, things that came out of my home, things that were moved not by me, but my staff.
Mr. President, for months when you were asked about your age, you would respond with the words, "Watch me." Many American people have been watching, and they have expressed concerns about your age.
That is your judgment. That is your judgment. That is not the judgment of the press.
They expressed concerns about your mental acuity. They say that you are too old. Mr. President, in December, you told me that you believe there are many other Democrats who could defeat Donald Trump. So why does it have to be you now? What is your answer
Because
to
I'm
that
the most
question?
qualified person in this country to be president of the United States and finish the job I started.
Do you believe that, guys? Why are you confusing the names of world leaders?
Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much.
I did not share classified information. I did not share it.
With your ghostwriter.
With my ghostwriter, I did not. Guarantee you did not.
But the special counsel said in the
Well, no,
report
they
that he
did not say that.
Okay.
He did not say that.
But Mr. President,
Let me answer your question. The fact of the matter is, what I didn't want repeated, I didn't want him to know, and I didn't read it to him, was I had written a long memorandum to President Obama why we should not be in Afghanistan. And I was multiple pages. And so what I was referring to, I said classified. I should have said it should be private because it was a contact between the president and the vice president as to what was going on. That's what he was referring to. It was not classified information in that document. That was not classified.
What a mess. Simmer down. No wonder they organize these things so he can take questions.
He called on me. When you look back at this incident, is there anything you would do differently now? And do you think that a special prosecutor should have been appointed in the first place in both of these cases?
First of all, what I would have done is oversee the transfer of the material that was in my office, in my offices. I should have done that. If I go back, I didn't have the responsibility to that. That was my staff was supposed to do that, and they referenced that in the report. And my staff did not do it in a way that, for example, I didn't know how half the boxes got in my garage until I found out staff gathered them up, put them together, and took them to the garage in my home. And all the stuff that was in my home was in filing cabinets that were either locked or able to be locked. It was in my house. It wasn't out in, like in Mar-a-Lago, in a public place where, and none of it was high classified. Didn't have any of that red stuff on it. You know what I mean, around the corners? None of that. And so I wish I had paid more attention to how the documents were being moved and where. I thought they were being moved to the archives. I thought all of it was being moved. That's what I thought. Now, what was the last part of your question?
Whether a special counsel should have been appointed in this case and in the case of your rival president, former president.
I think a special counsel should have been appointed. And the reason I think a special counsel should have been appointed is because I did not want to be in a position that they looked at Trump and weren't going to look at me, just like they looked at the vice president. And the fact is they made a firm conclusion. I did not break the law, period. Thank you all very, very much.
Thanks for this mess.
The hostage
negotiation, look. I'm of the view, as you know, that the conduct of the response in Gaza, in the Gaza Strip, has been over the top. I think that, as you know, initially the president of Mexico, Sisi, did not want to open up the gate to allow humanitarian material to get in. I talked to him. I convinced him to open the gate. I talked to Bibi to open the gate on the Israeli side. I've been pushing really hard.
He glanced at his paper.
To get humanitarian assistance into Gaza. There are a lot of innocent people who are starving, a lot of innocent people who are in trouble and dying, and it's got to stop, number one. Number two, I was also in a position that I'm
He's going to kick himself later for saying Mexico instead of
the guy that made the case that we have to do much more to increase the amount of material going in, including fuel, including other items. I've been on the phone with the Qataris, I've been on the phone with the Egyptians, I've been on the phone with the Saudis to
with Mexico.
Get as much aid as we possibly can into Gaza. There are innocent people, innocent women and children who are also in badly in need of help. And so that's what we're pushing. And I'm pushing very hard now to deal with this hostage ceasefire because, I've been working tirelessly in this deal. How can I say this without revealing it? To lead to a sustained pause in the fighting, in the actions taking place in the Gaza Strip. And because I think if we could get the delay for that, the initial delay, I think that we would be able to extend that so that we could increase the prospect that this fighting in Gaza changes. There's also negotiations. You may recall, in the very beginning, right before Hamas attacked, I was in contact with the Saudis and others to work out a deal where they would recognize Israel's right to exist, make them part of the Middle East, recognize them fully in return for certain things that the United States would commit to do. And the commitment that we were proposing to do related to two items. I'm not going to go in detail, but one of them was to deal with the protection against their arch enemy to the northwest, northeast, I should say. The second one, by providing ammunition and material for them to defend themselves. Coincidentally, that's the time frame when this broke out. I have no proof what I'm about to say, but it's not unreasonable to suspect that the Hamas understood what was about to take place and wanted to break it up before it happened.
Yeah, that's, by the way, that is the general feeling amongst most of the Middle East, kind of historical news people, the people who talk in these, like on Al Jazeera and other places, that the fact that the Saudis were working very closely with the United States and looked like they were going to recognize Israel was one of the reasons why Russia kicked the dominoes in Iran, and Iran kicked the domino to Hamas, going, yeah, stir this shit up. Because if the Saudis side with Israel or whatever, and it reshapes where you've got more of a UAE, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Jordan kind of a Middle East versus the Iranian alliance through the Houthis, Syria, and Lebanon, that balance takes away a lot of Iran's more violent power. And so the idea that we were in talks with Saudi Arabia was one of the other reasons why October 7th happened when it did.
Thank you, everybody. We're going to everybody to hold for a moment.
Wow, what a noise. Are they jump? Yeah. Well, that was the thing, was that this was an extension of that, like Kushner calling it the Abraham Accords, when in reality, a lot of this was, previously negotiated. They just slapped a label on it. Kind of like Space Force was part of the Air Force. There was already like a space command or whatever it was called within the Air Force, and they just moved it to its own thing and gave it a label, but essentially it was always there. It was just growing in size. So eventually they just, the Trump administration basically finally putting a label on it. They did the same thing with the Abraham Accords. They were, we'd been talking about kind of a categorized peace throughout the Middle East, dealing with the Saudis and the UAE and Qatar and all these countries you could argue that this started back with Gulf War I and the protection of Kuwait and Qatar's part in that, and then the Qatari, them bringing after Russia attacked Ukraine, Qatar became one of the sources for natural gas that Europe was getting, and that's all part of this. That they want that kind of an arrangement instead of this war for war's sake shit. But they've still got to shake out the Sunni Shia fight that's going on. So. Anyways, that became the end of it. He's going to catch hell because of the Mexico thing, but yeah. You could tell he's flipping through his pages to go through his briefing points because he doesn't want to give shit away, and I do it all the time. You guys know it when I glance at a word in a thing. And again, he doesn't say, I have the best words, so I don't care. He can flub, and I don't mind. Because it's not like he's going to sign a piece of paper that says, we're a peace deal with Mexico over Gaza. Like, it's just, who cares? Trump would, though. Trump would be like, no, I did mean Mexico. We're going to get the president of Mexico on the line. I was just talking to him. Right. So, good stuff. All right. By the way, meanwhile, let's jump over here to this guy who will probably speak incredibly clearly and embarrass, let's see. Is this, yeah, okay. This is on, I think he leaves, right? He talked, yeah, it just runs tape. Okay. So this is about 15 minutes. This is him after they ruled after the Supreme Court heard the arguments this morning. Good old real America's voice. Bing, boing, bing, bong.
Nice place. I just finished watching the Supreme Court. It was a beautiful thing to watch in many respects.
In many respects. Also, by the way, does he, because he's a plaintiff in it, does he get a video feed of it that they provide him? Because the rest of us just had to listen to it. So he might have been watching it on Fox News where they just showed pictures and we all heard audio. But
it's unfortunate that we have to go through a thing like that. I consider it to be more election interference by the Democrats. That's what they're doing. The good news is we're leading virtually every poll. We're leading.
No. I mean, he can bring this up again and again, but it's been drifting Biden's way, especially over the last couple of months.
I don't even know if we have anymore. I'm not sure that we even have a Republican candidate, somebody running, but not making any impact. So as you know, we won Iowa, we won New Hampshire in records, and each won a record. We think we're going to do very well. I'm heading out right now to Nevada for the caucus and the caucuses, and
they're just one caucus. The caucuses are in general, but they're caucusing. It's a Caucasian kind of a thing.
I think we're going to do very well there.
Right. I guess this is Nikki Haley. I guess lost the primary in Nevada to none of these people.
So. Polls indicate we're in the 90s, maybe more than the 90s. We certainly
more than the 90s. Yeah, you wish you were in the 90s.
We did well in a primary that didn't matter.
We really did well in the 90s. I blame The Apprentice. It fucked my life up.
Where they voted very nicely. And we have tremendous support from the people of our country. They hate what's happening at the border. They hate what's happening.
By the way, is it fucking raining there and he's making the press stand in the rain? Or is there like is this that drive up thing where there's like an overhang for cars to pull up and he's just set this up? And this is the only place they can do it. He doesn't want to let them inside or something.
Happening just generally, we're not a respected country anymore. We're laughed at.
No, generally we are.
All over the world, they're laughing at us. And they hate what's happening. They hate seeing it. They love our country. They want it to come back.
Jesus Christ. Is Mar-a-Lago on a runway?
And we're going to do that. If you think about it, had the results of the election been...
What I'm thinking about is how fucking it explains why you couldn't get $1 billion for this fucking property. Does that always happen?
Different. That would be nice. You wouldn't have the Ukrainian situation with Russia. You would not have had an attack on Israel, which was so horrible. You would not have had inflation. You wouldn't have China talking about Taiwan. You wouldn't have any of the problems that we have today.
Right, because we would have collapsed, and with us, most of the Western Hemisphere.
And you certainly had a broke Iran, and now you have a very rich Iran. Iran was broke when I left. They had no money to give to Hamas. They had no money to give to Hezbollah.
Well, maybe that's why Hamas and Hezbollah managed to make do with fucking paragliders and wire snips, you dumb motherfucker. How expensive does he think this shit was? They've been tearing up the fucking pipes. Look, the UNRWA money that the United States has been giving to help Palestinians, a solid portion of that, 30% of it at least, has been used to put in plumbing throughout the country. That fucking Hamas tore up and fucking turned the pipes into missiles. And he continued funding for that during his time in office. Get the fuck out of here.
And now they have $200 billion. Plus, as you probably know, people don't like to admit it, they certainly control Iraq. And Iraq has another $300 billion. So you have a very rich.
Apparently, so money's on your mind. Is it because you're broke or?
A group of countries. And
he almost said companies.
As you know, Iraq should have never happened.
I agree. Iraq should have never happened. It should have stayed basically Mesopotamia in general.
That was a balance against Iran, and we blew out the balance, and now Iran has essentially Iraq. And Iraq doesn't like saying that, but that's the way it is. And
so we're going to attack Iraq when you get into office?
It's a shame. The world is in tremendous danger. We're in danger of possibly a World War III. And we have a man who's absolutely the worst president in the history of our country. Can't put two sentences together. He's not going to be able to negotiate with Putin or Xi or Kim Jong-un.
Well, I mean, he's older and he probably doesn't have the bladder control he had when he was younger. And sitting there while Putin fucking rambles on about 16th century Russian territory is a little rough for anybody.
North Korea, not going to be able to negotiate with anybody. All he knows how to do is drop bombs all over the place. Meaningless bombs, except
meaningless bombs. So the Pentagon, the DOD, all the strikes that they're doing in the Houthi areas to stop the missiles, those are meaningless. Okay.
They kill a lot of people. It costs a lot of money. Every time you see a bomb, it's another $1 million.
No. Some of them are more than that. Most of them are cheaper than that.
And it actually...
Also, the difference between a bomb and a missile, bombs are cheaper. Just saying.
Actually sets us back. We have peace through strength. This should not...
What strength? If you're not going to use the bombs and missiles, you're like, I'm not going to send those. They're fucking expensive.
Be happening. The Middle East is blowing up.
Well, because they fired on merchant marines and we're fucking them up. I mean, I think, really.
It's blowing up, and a lot of people are being killed, and it's so unnecessary. So I just say...
Is it unnecessary? So we shouldn't... So after people struck our base with a drone, we shouldn't retaliate in any way, because it might kill someone? Especially the people who tried and successfully killed some of our soldiers in their fucking sleep?
That in watching the Supreme Court today, I thought it's a very beautiful process. I hope that democracy in this country will continue.
It will.
Because right now we have a very, very tough situation with all of the radical left ideas, with the weaponization of politics. They weaponize it like it's never been weaponized before. It's totally illegal. But
seriously, is Mar-a-Lago in... Is that why it was so cheap? Is that why everybody's like, I'm not buying that fucking place. Let Trump buy it. Instead of fucking, you can't even go outside and swim at the pool. You always feel like you're in line for a bombing run.
They do it anyway, and it has to stop. every one of the court
Those are jets. They sound close. What the shit?
cases that I'm in,
Mara LAX.
about every single one, civil, whether it's the attorney generals or the district attorneys. You look at Fani in
Funny.
Georgia.
Funny. In Georgia.
They had many meetings with the White House and with the DOJ. They went there, 8-hour meetings. That was all
So they're going to press charges against a former president. It's kind of a big deal. I would rather they coordinate.
staged. That was a phony hoax, and now you look at it and it is a phony hoax. And
Phony hoax. Of course. That's a phrase people say.
hopefully that case will be dismissed in short order. It's a disgrace to this country. But they work together with the Justice Department and the White House.
Well, they're going to they have to, because you're being charged federally as well. So they got to kind of, there's always those territorial disputes. You've seen 80s cop movies. The feds always want their man before the states do, and the states are always fighting back.
And not supposed to do that. Every one of these
Yeah, they are actually, especially post 2001.
cases you see comes out of the White House. It comes out of Biden.
Really? He just is he above your head, like just dropping logs on you? Is that how it just comes out of Biden? All right.
It's election interference, and it's really very sad. I thought the presentation today was a very good one. I think it was well received. I hope it was well received. You have millions of people that are out there wanting to vote, and they happen to.
They'll still get to vote. I mean, what do you think's going to happen after you pass away? Like, you think maggots are just going to stop voting for anybody? I mean, there's obviously options.
Want to vote for me or the Republican Party or whatever you want to, however you want to phrase it. But I'm the one running, and we are leading in every poll. We're leading in the local polls, in the state polls, and we're.
Wait a minute. Did he say global or
Whatever
local?
you want to, however you want to phrase it. But I'm the one running, and we are leading in every poll. We're leading in the local polls.
The global polls. Oh, I didn't realize. So you're winning worldwide. Like I said, does Biden fucking up like Mexico, Egypt, because he's talking about a border and blah, 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 and they've been having meetings all morning? Is that a big deal? No, because Biden doesn't go, I have the best words and I never misspeak and blah, blah, blah. This guy does. This guy's like, I have the best words. No one knows these things better than I do. When you set that shit up, you can't fuck up like this. You can't do it. Globally. Yeah, you're doing great globally. Yeah, you win dictators, 4 out of 5 dictators. It's like the dentists who like sugar-free gum.
State polls, and we're leading in the swing state polls, and we're leading
and the swing global polls.
Very big in the national polls. So it's been a very great honor. We love the country. I think the
Who's we? You and Tucker?
reason we have such big leads, frankly, is that they loved 4 years of.
I don't know. I don't think he said local after.
But I'm the one running, and we are leading in every poll. We're leading in the local polls, in the state polls, and we're leading in the swing state polls, and we're leading very big in the national polls. So it's been a very great.
He said global. He cleans it up
honor.
after.
We love the country. I think the reason we have such big leads, frankly, is that they loved 4 years of us compared to the 3 years plus the 3 years that they've gone.
He said global. It was a B instead of an L. That's global.
With Biden, where you have open borders, you have crime. Nobody's ever seen crime like this. What's
Yeah, they have. Where the fuck were you in the 90s?
happening? And now the crime is being committed, much of it by the migrants that have come in illegally.
No, it isn't.
To our country.
Well, I know, because I watched a video of this one attack over and over and over again, and basically every time I see it, it's another 5 migrants that are guilty every time.
Wondering about that, I said, a lot of these people come out of jails, they come out of mental institutions, they come out of places that you don't want to know about. We don't even know where they come from. We don't
Well, then how can you say they come out of jails and mental institutions if you don't
know who they are, where they are? They're being dumped in from mental institutions, from prisons and jails, and many.
Well, then some of them, I guess you're going to say some of them deserve a, I suppose they could all be, they just get an insanity defense then?
Terrorists are coming into our country. We're going to be.
Crazy terrorists, though, and they're easy to spot because they all act like Jim Ignatowski.
Paying a big price.
On crack.
They have to stop it. They have to close the border. By the way, the president can do it just by saying, I want the border closed.
No, he can't.
Close the border. We had the safest border in the history of our country. Now we have the most unsafe border.
Explain what you mean. I would love for somebody to say, explain what you mean by closing the border. What does that mean? Nobody gets through? No trucks? No legit people getting through? Just all the ports are closed. Everybody on the southern border, all the way along. Like, and what happens if anybody runs across? Do we shoot them? Or we just like, how do you push them back? Bayonets or fucking bulldozers? What are you using?
In the history of the world, there's never been a country with a border like this.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, back in the day, they didn't have drones and shit.
Not even a third world country.
Excuse me, it's not a third world country.
A ninth world country, not a third world country, a ninth world country.
Yeah, get it right.
So we are, again, we're going out to Nevada right now. We'll be out there. Some of you are going to be out there with us. Otherwise, your colleagues will be. And hopefully we're going to have a big night, caucus tonight. We're going to have a very big night. We expect to have a very big night. The Virgin.
But there will be a night, is what you're saying. So at some point, are you going to stay at Excalibur? Is that what it is?
Islands, as you know, are also very much in play today. So we'll be hearing about them sometime during the day. Or
imagine being the former president, and you desperately need to make sure that you secure the Virgin Islands to outpace Nikki Haley
later on in the evening. And it's an honor to have you at Mar-a-Lago. I hope you like it. It's worth a little more than $18 million. There's another case. He says it's worth $18 million. I said, which cabin are we talking about? But that's the kind of justice.
The one without that airplane flying over every 8 minutes that sounds like it's actually landing on the roof.
We have, when they say that, to try and build up a case. That was a shame. But that gave up so much. When they said that gave up so much that Mar-a-Lago's worth $18 million.
That, by the way, that's his number.
They had it appraised for, as you know, 50 to 100 times that amount. But we have a judge, that's what he said. And he's supposed to be ruling on me.
Yeah, he's going to be. Get used to it.
But who knows? Maybe he'll be fair. I doubt it, but maybe he'll be fair.
Well, if he's fair, you'll owe probably $1 billion too. I would hope for your sake, you should hope that he's worried about your like maggots attacking people and like brings the number down to a number that hurts, but that you can bitch about and that you could, in theory, you could pay with just the shit you have in New York City. I don't think so.
So I want to thank everybody. And by the way, we proved that case 100%, 5 times over.
Nope.
That case is 100% proven, 5 times over.
That's not a sentence, by the way. We proved that 100%, 5 times over, which would be 500%. If I do something like that.
We've never seen anything like it. He just wouldn't dismiss it, no matter what. Shouldn't be there. It should have been in the commercial division. Anyway. It's an honor to have you. I look forward to
out in the yard. It's an honor to have you out here. Obviously, I'm not going to let you in the building in the rain with the planes flying over because fuck you. But
having you again, and I'll probably see you out in Nevada. Thank you very much.
The U.S. Supreme Court is said to be broadly skeptical in early reporting about the effort to try and kick you off the ballot. Having said that, though, speak to the argument, legal and otherwise, that your detractors have made leading up to the day. And it's an argument that was given voice by Mitch McConnell, the Senate Republican leader, not long ago.
All right, I got the gist.
No question.
Yeah, I got the gist.
President Trump is practically and morally responsible for provoking the events of the day.
He doesn't say that anymore. So let me just tell you that.
Don't say the part that upsets me.
I heard and I watched. And the one thing I'll say is they kept saying about what I said right after the insurrection.
Yeah, I could see how you could get $1 billion for this property. I mean, who doesn't want to take a relaxing trip? Yeah, surf Mar-a-Lago. Just hang out in Mar-a-Lago. It's all you have to do is cross a 4-lane road to get to the beach, and you have the benefit of a plane going over every 8 fucking minutes. What, you couldn't buy your resort next to a live train yard? Honest to God, we're so used to this shit happening inside Yeah. This must be why he does his little videos late at fucking night, right? Right? Because it's the only time that, like, he has to wait until the plane, there's like a no flyover time. That's why he gets up so fucking early. That's why everybody's exhausted doing these interviews, because you have to do them at fucking 6 a.m. because the plane started at 7.
Because I think it was an insurrection caused.
Sounds great. It really is. I can see why you're like, hang out at the pool at Mar-a-Lago.
Nancy Pelosi.
Can I get another margarita?
It was an insurrection.
No, I'm not looking for someone named Margaret. Mar-a-Lago. No, I know the place is Mar-a-Lago. I want a margarita. Just bring me some vodka. Fuck this.
If it was an insurrection, which there were no guns, there were no anything except for the fact that they shot Ashley Babbitt.
She had a knife.
Somebody from...
And other people had guns.
Police force shot Ashley Babbitt.
Yeah, because she had a knife, and she had a backpack with God knows what in it, and she climbed through a window that people had just bashed a hole in, and there were still like staff and Congress people in harm's way. That was a guy's fucking job.
So unnecessary, so sad.
Right, but it's your fucking fault. You got her there.
So horrible. But there were no guns. There were no anything. But
yeah, there were. There were guns. There were guns. There were guns there. There were guns, and she had a knife.
You take a look at my words right after. You take a look at my speech from the Rose Garden.
Right, you mean right after it failed and you were in CYA mode?
Which was very shortly after. Or you take a look at I'm only on Truth Now.
Oh, did I bounce off YouTube? What happened? Somebody was saying, like...
But at that time, we were tweeting, and
We were tweeting!
It was on Twitter. If you take a look at those 5 or 6 tweets, you will see...
Yes, during an active... battle, effectively. Our Lady of Fafo. Yeah, you didn't think they were like, oh, fuck, guys, hold on a second. He's tweeting. Sorry. No, keep beating the cop. I'll read it to you.
Very beautiful, very heartwarming.
They were. And I appreciate the fact that he had, like, violins in the background. Sorry, not violins. Violence in the background. That's right.
Statements. Go home.
Heartwarming.
The police are doing their job, etc., etc. Beautiful.
Etc., etc. We love you. This day it will be with you forever. That kind of, especially the ones that are going to go to jail.
Beautiful statements. If you see my statement made in the Rose Garden, I think you have to watch that, because today they said the words of Trump. Now, if you take a look at the words of Democrats over the last period of time, look at Schumer's
the last period of time.
Statement about the Supreme Court on the steps of the Supreme Court. He sounded like a mob boss. Take a
jealous.
Look at any of them. Take a look at any. We put together a tape of vicious, violent statements made by Democrats. Nobody brings that up. Take a look at Maxine Waters and the vicious statements that she made. I didn't do that. I said.
You just said show up on January 6th. It'll be wild, and you're gonna have to fight. And if I want you to walk down there peacefully and patriotically, let your voice be heard. But if Mike Pence doesn't have the strength to do what's right, you're going to have to be strong, or you won't have a country left. And yeah, talking like a mob boss.
Peacefully and patriotically.
Mm-hmm.
The speech was called Peacefully and Patriotically.
It was called, was it? It was the speech was called that? That was the title of it?
It's Peacefully and Patriotically. He said I said bad statement. It was the exact opposite. So I think you should take a look at the statements that I made.
Why didn't you go down there with him? You said you were going to go. You said, and I'll be there with you, and you didn't go. So did you not go so that those people would think you'd been abducted or weren't allowed or something bad had happened to you, so they'd be more likely to strike? Because I think you you could argue that in and of itself was an instigation by you saying you were going to go down there with them and then you didn't. There's a very strong chance some of these dumb motherfuckers thought, you'd been stopped from being down there and they needed to defend you and protect you.
Before and after, and you'll see a whole different dialogue.
Dialogue.
Mr. President, you just mentioned Chinese presidency. You said that you were going to impose 60% tariffs should you get back in office. Can you explain your rationale there?
We want to bring business back to the U.S. They're stealing our business. They're taking
our business
at levels that nobody's ever seen before.
No, that's not true. Literally, we are reshoring businesses from China at a level no one's ever seen before. Fucking hell. So let me see. Where's this? Hold on. I'll bring it up on here. Hold on. Give me 1 second. I was gonna post this earlier if I could. Maybe in the pictures. Yeah. In this. Give me one second, folks. One second. Open up my pictures. There you go. Open. Come on. There you go. And then I go to the library, go back to here, and I scroll all the way down to all these. Get back at the thing without trying, because there was a, there it is. Let's see if I can take this and I think I can put it in my Notion. Yeah, that's a good idea. Where do I put it? In politics. Yeah, I'll put it there. Let me get this over here, drag this over here. I'll take this picture and I'll drag it to there. Yeah, there we go. And then I can just go over to my Notion over here. This is fun. I like it. This is, technically speaking, this is a good thing. Let's go ahead and put it in politics. And then there was this, oh, there it is. I open this shit up. See, you want to see this? U.S. trade deficits with China are shrinking. Okay, let me move this. I'm going to make this smaller so you guys can see it better. There you go. This is 2018. Okay, this is where the trade deficit with China was at its peak. Literally during the first 2 years of Trump, the trade deficit, specifically the year and a half, at the end of 2018, they had the highest trade deficit. We had the highest trade deficit with China we had ever fucking had. Okay, and he started catching shit for it. So it started to go down. If you'll recall, what did he do in 2020? What became the top? This is when he started his trade war, and the trade deficit started going down. Then he signed his trade deal with them. Remember that? The phase one of the trade deal or whatever? And look at the deficit after 2020. It starts to climb again after, now part of this is COVID, but part of this is his attempt at a trade deal and what sanctions he had put in that he took off around agricultural stuff. That started to go out again. So the trade deficit as far as food goes here. Then Biden starts implementing shit that goes into effect right about here because it's starting to grow, and they're like, fuck that. This is last year. This is the United States trade deficit with China last year. It looks like a pipe organ. It does. It looks like an upside down pipe organ. It's true. Yeah, this is Trump. This is midway through Trump. There he goes. And it starts to go down, and then he signs his deal with them, and it starts to go up again. The Trump phase one deal, this is where it goes. And then Biden starts putting a lock on a bunch of shit. Like the Chips and Science Act goes into effect last year. The limitations on technology, the intellectual property rules that Biden puts in place go into effect last year, and pow, look at this shit. Look at the drop off from here to here. Yeah, just saying, as far as his whole nobody's ever seen before. Literally the highest trade deficit in American history with China happened under Trump. Are the steel tariffs still in effect? Yes, they are.
By doing that, we bring business back, manufacturing back to the United States, which I was doing.
No, he wasn't.
I took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China.
Yes, we know. They made a deal with you to help you buy the farm vote. We get it.
No president had ever taken in 10 cents. Not.
Okay, now, why does he say that? That's not even remotely true. Here's why. See if I can get this in here. Let's go. Let's go to the news on this one. Hold on. Oh, fuck you, Barons. What are you doing? I don't want that. Yeah, let's just do this one. I'll show you. Why does Trump always say no president ever got 10 cents? Because that's clearly not true. You know, Obama put on steel tariffs, all this other shit, right? Why does he say 10 cents all the time? Why does he say, why? It's a weird thing, right? It's not like, they didn't get one fucking dollar, right? They've never gotten $1 out of it. They haven't gotten 5 cents. Why 10 cents? Why does he fucking say 10 cents all the time? I'll tell you why. Because there's a Chinese company, move around, you silly thing. There you go. Called Tencent. And this dumb motherfucker doesn't realize that when his own staff was talking about putting limitations on payments made through WeChat, which is owned by Tencent, he never was able to do it. Nothing happened with Tencent during his presidency. Even he was not able to make a dent in fucking Tencent while he was in office. Somebody in his cabinet, you know, maybe it was fucking Kudlow or somebody like that, was like, we'd love to get 10 cents. And he's like, yeah, we could get 10 cents out of them. Like, nobody can get 10 cents out of them. Not you, not even. That's why. He doesn't understand that Tencent is a fucking company and that they control WeChat. And WeChat is the company that owns... Tencent's a company that owns WeChat, and WeChat is their primary pay point. It is effectively the biggest digital bank in the world. That's why he keeps saying fucking 10 cent. It is so dumb. And he doesn't catch himself, and he says it all the fucking time. Because again, materially, plenty of presidents have put tariffs on China before, and we've had exchanges with them over time. But the reason 10 cents gets stuck in his head is because he wasn't able to, on the trade deal, on phase 1 anyways, everybody's like, nobody gets 10 cent. You know, that's the thing. And he was like, yeah, nobody gets 10 cents except me. This dumb motherfucker. I'm serious. That's why he does it.
10 cents. I took it
all the fucking time. It drives me crazy. And now you guys know, because I was so ashamed of myself that it took me that long to realize, like, why the fuck does he keep saying 10 cents? What is the 10 cents thing? And I was like, oh, motherfucker. They tried to get, you know, some sort of, trade limitations on WeChat to help Elon Musk because he was going to turn X into WeChat. That's what Elon Musk wants. He wants to turn X into WeChat, and he wants all the money in it that if you pay for things through X, through Twitter, which is fucking stupid because X is a drug. I half expect Elon Musk to start to change the name of X to Molly so everybody can go, everybody's on Molly now. Like, so dumb. Anyways, this dumb motherfucker it was trying to help Elon Musk make a dent in Tencent so that he could gain some ground, so X would actually be like this pay point. And what you'll do is any cash you put into it, let's say you use Apple Pay or something else to buy something through X, it would, what Elon Musk's plan was, use Dogecoin as the transactional foundation currency of X. So you want $10 worth of something, he turns that into Doge and then turns it back into, he pays out either in Doge or in actual cash that's done through that. But while he's at it, blowing up Doge into a functioning currency. That was his plan. It shit the bed, but that's what he was trying to do. And this dumb motherfucker doesn't realize that when they were saying 10 cent, it was about the company.
In hundreds of billions of dollars, and jobs were coming back.
They are coming back now.
Saving steel companies, now they're blowing it. When I see U.S. steel being bought by Japan, what a sad thing that is to me. What a sad thing that is. So we want to bring jobs back. Very simple. Thank you.
Also, by the way, so let me get this straight. You believe the government should stop all multinational corporations from buying or selling American firms. Say that. See how that's received. See what the editorial board of the Wall Street Journal says when you go, I don't believe multinationals should be able to buy American companies or incorporate them into their multinational organizations and see what that does to the fucking stock market.
President, do you still have confidence in Speaker Johnson after the failed Mayorkas impeachment effort?
I do have confidence in him, yeah. I very much do. I think he's a very good man, and I have great confidence.
He's basically Moses.
Why is Nikki Haley still in the race when you're dominating in the polls?
Oh, I love that question. Thank you very much. You just said it. I don't know why she continues, but let her continue.
I'm starting to think you only let people that will kiss your ass ask questions.
Continue. We have a big one coming up, as you know, in South Carolina, and the polls are.
What was that? We have a very big one coming up in South Carolina.
We're indicating that we're through the roof on that one. We're leading by, I guess, 35%, 35 points. So I don't know. I think she hurts herself, but I think she hurts the party, and in a way hurts the country. But it seems to be dying. She did poorly in Iowa. She did very poorly in Iowa, actually. She came in third place. Ron DeSantis beat her, although you wouldn't know that.
Didn't Trump come in third place in Iowa initially, right? Because he won New Hampshire. That was his big turnaround. Yeah, hold on. No, he came in second, but he was 1 point away from Rubio. He was beaten by Ted Cruz. There we go. Hold on.
If you listen to her speech, she did poorly in New Hampshire. She did poorly no matter where she went. I don't know how the results aren't in yet from the Virgin Islands, but I know she's playing it very hard.
Well, how about this? How about she loses the primary, but it's a whisker at certain points, and then you get convicted, and all those people who are Republicans go, the minute he's convicted, I'm not fucking voting for him. And she, in a contested convention, is the person with the most accumulated delegates. And she stayed in, and everybody backs her because fuck you.
And in Nevada, she lost to no name. She had a no name, and she lost by, I guess, 40 points. So I don't.
She had a no name. She lost to none of these people.
I don't know why she continues, but she's a, I don't really care if
she's a what.
She continues. I think it's bad for the party. I think it's actually bad for her too.
Mr. President, thank you for having us on a busy
Thank you.
day here. Given the battles over presidential immunity, I'm wondering should all presidents.
You know what? Fuck my question. I just really want to know, is Mar-a-Lago the most relaxing vacation spot in Palm Beach, in the entire area? And I'm sorry, you can't hear me over the airplane. I was saying, is Mar-a-Lago the best? We'll just wait for it to pass. I can ask you in the 6 minutes that's between every flight. Jesus Christ, is this nonstop? I'm dead serious. That's fucked up. Can you imagine paying for like paying a resort fee and all the other shit to stay someplace, and you're out by the pool and this is what you hear?
Well, I can say presidential immunity, which we'll be talking about because that will be upcoming, is very, very important for a president to have. If a president doesn't have immunity, he really doesn't have a presidency. He can be told to do things that he would never do.
What? He can be told? What do you mean? Legal things?
He can do really bad things for our country. Presidential immunity is imperative. It's going to be.
Wait. What? Hold on. Is that a bad thing or a good? What do you mean? Doing legal things is bad? Run that by me again, because what the fuck?
I'm wondering should all presidents and vice presidents be immune from any legal consequences for any action they
Your parents were in Brussels and it was next to a construction. Your hotel was next to a construction site. Well, at least you could kind of go see the rest of the city, I guess, whereas Mar-a-Lago's the destination for a bunch of these dumb fucks.
Well, I can say presidential immunity, which we'll be talking about because that will be upcoming, is very, very important for a president to have. If a president doesn't have immunity, he really doesn't have a presidency. He can be told to do things that he would never do. He can do really bad things for our country. Presidential immunity is imperative. It's going to be
it's imperative what? So that he can do really bad things for our country? Oh my God.
Very, very important. And I'd rather talk about that next week, but there is nothing more important to a presidency than immunity.
Well, I mean, I think following the Constitution would be part of that, right?
Because they have to be free to make decisions without saying, oh, if I do this or if I do that, as soon as I get out of office, we're going to be indicted.
Well, no, I think that's one of the things that keeps you from doing like assassinating U.S. citizens because you don't like them and shit like that. There should be a bunch of fucking things that make you not do things that are illegal. Like blanket immunity is a fucking nightmare.
Gonna have trouble.
By the way, no president has ever had that, nor would they. Like, again, this is the argument for the kingship of the presidency. And to that I say a resounding fuck no.
And the other party will do that. I think we've seen that. They've done that. There's some very bad people. And you have an opposition party, and they will do things that are very bad. If you don't have immunity, you can be blackmailed.
You can be isn't Biden being blackmailed now? And by the way, can I just say again, is this fucking nuts or whatever? Like, asshole, you think Biden is a cheater who does all kinds of awful stuff. He's engaged in terrible all the time. And you want the court to rule definitively, finally, that the president has absolute immunity. That makes Joe Biden the most powerful president in history, and it means if he wanted to, he could kill you, and as long as there's not time to impeach him when it happens, he gets away with it. Right? That's the argument. It literally would be giving... So if you believed any of the shit he says about Biden, that he was that he's a criminal and he's crooked and blah, 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 or even that the people around him use him to do awful in the world, because what do you think, they're going to worry about him? But if they can use his immunity to kill you and get away with it, like, it's fucking crazy.
You can be, as a president, they'll say, if you don't do this, this, and this, we're going to indict you as soon as you leave office.
And you go, fill your boots. Who gives a shit? You'll lose.
You cannot allow a president to be out there without immunity. If they don't have immunity, you don't have a presidency. You lose all, you lose all form of free thought and good thought.
Free thought and good thought.
And you probably weaken the presidency to a point that it was never supposed to be weakened. It would be a very bad thing for our country.
I'm sorry, real quick, follow-up question. How much was it supposed to be weakened? If it was supposed to be, if this is more than it was supposed to be weakened, obviously that means there was a certain amount that it was supposed to be weakened. But if you have total immunity, that makes it, I guess, there is zero weakness.
We'll be talking about immunity in the coming weeks.
Oh, well, that you don't have it. Citizen Trump.
How confident are you that you will be treated fairly by the Supreme Court justices? And what sort of time frame do you need a decision in order for it not to derail the campaign?
Well, I'm a believer in our country, and I'm a believer in the Supreme Court. I listened today, and
it was a beautiful thing.
I thought our arguments were very, very strong. An argument that is very important is the fact that you're leading in every race. You're leading in every state.
Shouldn't make any difference.
You're leading in the country.
And also, you're not. If you're leading in every state, why would any state want to kick you off?
Against both Republican and Democrat. And Biden, you're leading.
So he's not a Democrat?
Leading in the country by a lot. And can you take the person that's leading everywhere and say, hey, we're not going to let you run? You know, I think that's pretty tough to do, but I'm leaving it up to the Supreme Court. Thank you all very much. Enjoy it. Thank you.
What, he's going to leave it up to the Supreme Court? That's because he has to.
Do you believe there's a model violence?
The U.S. doing enough militarily.
Just shut the door on his guy. Well, wait, I mean, yep, they're all in the valet. They're all under the valet lip, and then he's like, "Bye, thanks for coming down and staying outside. Fuck you." Spectacular. That's just, yeah. All right, let's see. That was Biden's thing. And then we still have more of Vladimir Putin thing, but I wanted to show you guys this. I don't know. Apparently, Roseanne's son, I guess, has an issue with the QAnon stuff. It's Jake confronts Roseanne on QAnon, which is weird because he seems as all in on it as she does. So I just want to jump into this and see if this is what it says it is, or if it's what's on the tin. You know what I mean? Inside. I've heard that. You know. I just want to, yeah. And then I'm gonna watch the rest of the Tucker Carlson thing on my own time, and if there's a clip worth showing, I'll find it for you.
Quick, if you can give me 1 second.
People are so fucking stupid. I can't take it no more, and there's no drugs that help me. There's no antidepressants that's helping me with this shit.
Well, I think yelling about it.
Goldberg, she's getting paid to do this, having this old age nervous breakdown shit, but she's getting paid to lie. Now, you got to have script writers to lie. I can do this all day because it's true. I can do The View and be all 5 bitches and off the top of my own head.
Well, I think you might have actually gotten to what the problem might actually be, if I may. Also, I tried to turn the volume down, but fuck me.
Fuck you.
No, fuck you. Fuck you, lady.
Hollywood.
And this.
Fuck you, Hollywood. The View tapes in New York.
This is an antidepressant, this podcast, whether you admit to it or not. You get to come on here and bitch.
It makes me mentally healthy when I see myself, as you know, I'm my largest fan. Largest.
Yeah, I keep seeing your eyes switch on yourself.
I just love myself.
No, a lot of people love you. All right, let's do this real quick, and then we'll get back.
I love how completely out of it I am. Sometimes I wake up and go, "Is that you? What are you doing?"
Yeah, now you know what it's like to be the rest of us.
Yeah, your China Ukraine thing was a little out there. I'm going to talk to you
I read it on the internet. Don't say that. You don't know
that's not
anything.
a good argument. Time to put you back to bed, Granny. That's
Listen,
the thing.
You know nothing about Q. You think Q it's ridiculous.
It is.
I do.
The R word. So, you know, we disagree. Well, because you don't read the laws and orders of the government. That's why you think.
I used to follow it and nothing came true. So after a certain point, and you're lied to so many times, you're like, I'm not going to follow this anymore. That's just where I come from. You're like, oh, I'll just keep following it until, like a year from now. And I think at some point you got to go, I don't know if this is serving me or working.
When they televise the tribunals that are going on the ships off every coast.
I'll be with you. Hey, I want.
In about a year. She's like, when they televise the tribunals that are going on the ships in about a year, meaning, by the way, Q has said multiple times that Hillary Clinton's dead, that Biden's dead, that at one point they announced that Hillary Clinton had been killed for a second time, and everyone's like, wasn't she already hung as during when Trump lost, didn't he take care of it? And they're like, oh, we hung her clone. And everybody's like, what the fuck did her clone do wrong? I mean, honestly, a clone isn't responsible for the sins that it didn't commit, right? It's like, it was just born. I mean, isn't that like killing a baby right after birth?
I want you to be real.
Then you'll go, Ma, you were right, and I was an idiot again. And I don't know if I'll be
again. That's nice.
Alive then, but
I don't think
hope I will, so that I can say I told you so.
I was right.
It in the bag. They got it in the bag. They do.
I was right.
I'm glad everyone thinks I'm crazy. Good.
No, I don't think you're crazy. I think you're
gullible.
You'll sometimes
sappy.
You'll twist something because it sounds good to you, and I like to be a little bit more objective and go, is that real or not? Because if it's not real, I'm not going to waste my time. Like, I think the Wuhan virus came from Wuhan, China, and I think Fauci was behind it. Like, you and I are pretty much on the same page.
I think Fauci was behind it. The actual release of it, is that the idea? I mean, because that's pretty vague. Put up or shut up, motherfucker.
99% there. Work in the Ukraine and then sent it to Wuhan.
I see. So Fauci created the COVID virus in Ukraine and then sent it to Wuhan, and they released it on purpose.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope you're right.
Fauci is a little. You know who Fauci looks just like? Don't you think Satan looks just like Fauci?
No, actually, no. I think he looks like Dave Grohl in the Tenacious D video, doesn't he? Play the best song in the world, or I'll eat your soul.
I'm not sure what Satan looks like, but yeah, I think Fauci looks.
Also, if Satan took human form, wouldn't he be like super handsome? Wouldn't he look like John?
Looks like Satan.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah.
Yeah. Fauci looks just like a Satan.
I mean, I think Satan looks like Fauci. That was the joke. I mean, I think we know what Satan looks like.
Well, I will say that like in the 20s and 30s, a lot of the pictures of the devil that floated around, he got a specifically kind of like Jewish nose, and the idea is that Italians have bigger noses as well, and it was used as sort of across Europe as a kind of like the Jews and the Italians are all fucking in it together, and they're all mixed race, and they're all dirty, and they're all dangerous, and that's where the whole big nose thing came from. They used that or whatever. Is that what you mean? I think it's what you mean.
But anyway, let's do this real quick.
Satan called up over there at the Vatican. He's like, "Hey, I got to resign, guys. Once I see this Fauci, I got to get out of the business. Even I can't stomach it." And he resigned. Did you know that?
I did. Satan stepped down. Well, let me tell you this real quick. I didn't sleep last night because I actually was thinking about this. They're coming after Trump. This is something we'll talk about later in the episode, but it looks like he's going to lose that New York fraud case and be hit with like a $380 million bill. Now, this is speculation, but it looks that way. And I was thinking about Alex Jones being hit with $1 billion, and Rudy Giuliani got like 200 million, and they canceled you. And it's like every step of the way they've been silencing, and Ken Paxton, who was on last week, was getting lawfared into bankruptcy, and all this stuff about misinformation. But not once have they gone after Fauci, who openly lied, even said like the mask. He just said it like a few months ago. He's let it slip out like that 6 foot thing that was not based on science after telling us for 2 years. So how come only one side is getting?
Yeah, there's a huge difference between, let's say, like going after women you sexually assaulted and somebody going, we tried stuff and it wasn't particularly helpful, like 6 foot distancing. By the way, you know about the lack of harm from 6 foot distancing? That'd be the first do no harm thing. That's why it worked.
Getting sued into oblivion or called liars or disinformation. But the other side that pushed the Russian hoax, this whole fucking TDS anti-Trump move, Fauci, all you name.
Oh, that's TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, or whatever. It couldn't possibly be that we don't like the fact that he partied with Epstein for decades, that he wished Ghislaine Maxwell well, that he was a fake fucking billionaire, that he stole from charities, that his own son can't have a charity in New York anymore because he stole from fucking St. Jude's. It couldn't possibly be that he's just a fucking scumbag. It has to be that we're all deranged. Meanwhile, Joe Biden is the most, I guess, evil, crooked, corrupt politician ever.
It down the list.
Corrupted the FISA courts, corrupted the FBI, corrupted the Department of Justice.
Lied under oath. A FBI agent pled guilty to falsifying evidence.
No, he changed one of the FISA warrants to make it less likely that they would be able to continue their warrant on Carter Page, who can go fuck himself, and in an attempt to benefit Trump while Trump was president.
Schiff read lies in Congress to go after Trump for the Russia hate. None of that. Not only have they not been in trouble, like he got censored. None of them have been sued for disinformation. None of them are getting hit with hundreds of millions of dollars lawsuits. So this is the thing. It's like that's
because in the Schiff thing is him paraphrasing what Trump said because the actual dialogue of the call was in the record, so everybody can go, is that what he said exactly? Oh, I see, he's speaking allegorically. Fucking hell.
Question is, and then we'll
tried to sue Disney, as you know, not one lawyer in this country would take the case.
No, they won't, because Disney owns pretty much every lawyer in this country. And anyway,
Disney owns pretty much every lawyer in this country. I gotta say, tell that to Gina Carano, I guess.
I want to say,
I'm glad to see they lost their case against De Sanctimonious.
We're going to talk about that too, but I just want to.
So I guess he was able to find lawyers then?
What's it going to take for our liberal friends and family members to see that it's really only one side that's being punished and sued into oblivion? And at one point, if you're.
Well, I tell you what, when you, when I tell you that people who attack people or burn businesses down and shit like that during the riots of 2020 were actually put in jail and stuff, and you suck that up and realize that that's true, or that Antifa didn't just get a pass and they don't just release fucking people, and that more people committed violence on January 6th than have actually been arrested, and a lot of people were given a fucking pass as long as they said they'd never do it again, or they turned themselves in early, and the only people that are in fucking jail are people who were like, fuck you, judge, you let me out and I'll do this again. Once you admit to that part, then we'll start having a conversation.
You're liberal. You say the word conservative, we got to go constitutional. You're right, mind control. Well, if you're a liberal or you're someone that's liberal with laws, you want liberty, you want freedom.
Right. Yes, I'm a liberal.
At some point, you have to go, hey, only one side's being punished. That's
because only one side committed a crime. Seriously, that's admit to that part. Then punish for what? For you got two sets of things. The Biden documents, the Trump documents. What is Trump actually being, what is he actually being charged with? Is it the unlawful retention of those documents? No, it's the conspiracy to unlawfully retain those documents.
Not liberty. What's it going to take? That's all I want to know. So that was such a brilliant point you made. I want you to finish that. You're a constitutionalist, or whatever the word you used is, not a conservative.
Somebody dying of tuberculosis. In the
Radical-based constitutionalist.
She's a radical-based constitutionalist.
I love
AKA Q follower.
Should we have a political party?
Yes, do that. Start your own political party.
Name?
Well, I think that we need to.
Yeah, and everybody in your party, when they sing the national anthem, can grab their crotch and spit.
Let people know about it and talk about it, because people need to consider new ideas and new words, because
new words like radical and based and constitutionalist, and you put them all together, that's a new word. I mean, why I think the real question is, why do we put spaces between words anyways? Isn't that just what the man wants you to do?
I said, they've shat on every word, both sides really. You know why they do, because they're trying to cover up the words that matter most, which is bankrupt. And
the word bankrupt is that's the word of the week. Thanks, Roseanne.
What do you think of the lawsuit, the countersuit? So DeSantis took away the special tax. That's what we want to talk about. The special tax exempt status of Disney, your favorite employer of all time, I assume, right? Disney was the best.
The best.
Great job, guys. Way to protect the fam. Oh, look, it did a little thumbs up. I like how they fired you, but they'll just.
He's using Apple products. He had the same thing that happened to Phil Bittner.
Hire a pedophile like once a week and just do whatever they want. But anyway, so they.
Okay, so you want another lawsuit? So that's the idea. They fire her for racism because she calls a high-ranking black official a monkey, essentially, and then your backup is they wouldn't take the lawsuit where you were going to fight back against them firing you for cause because you're not allowed to be racist and in their employ. That obviously that overtly and directly, I suppose. And then your follow-up is well, they hire a pedophile a week, so shrug. Why do you think that started after you left? So you were happy to take their money and you knew that about them? Is that what you're telling me? That you're only mad at them after they fired you?
countersued Ron DeSantis saying you're messing with our money, and the case just got thrown out. That just happened. So congrats. Any loss against Disney is a win for America.
A win for the world. China.
Well, then why aren't you suing? Why don't you just sue them on your own? Don't even get a lawyer. Just do it. Write your own papers. I would go to law. It's a win for the world.
I know too.
Take one for the world, Roseanne.
Really? They're trying to get their,
No, I don't.
What?
I don't know. When,
Yeah, we know you don't know, but say it
I
anyways.
shouldn't say anything because
you'll slander or malign them in such a way that you'll get sued and you'll lose.
I just shouldn't say anything.
Are you going to say something? Are you going to get us canceled?
No.
You wish.
I don't want to have any enemies in this world except for, I already have the devil as my enemy, so.
Well, yeah, but he retired, so I guess you do want. You could have been nice to Fauci, I guess. Well, he's the new replacement.
I don't need any more. I just want to have the devil be the one I talk against, because that's kind of
generic.
What God I think that's what God considers intelligence to be.
Really? You don't think God would consider intelligence being like acting in a compassionate way towards your fellow and saying, get thee behind me, Satan, and effectively focusing on the good parts of life? Or does God really want you to just like go against the devil so hard that you malign and bear false witnesses to your fellow humans all the time in an attempt to kind of cred swap with Jesus?
I agree.
He doesn't want us to fight each other. That's a waste of time anyway.
That's okay though, because Fauci's obviously not a human being, so you're cool.
That take like 2 billion years, because you get rid of one asshole, 500 million assholes step up.
Well, that's ladies. I don't know why ladies like to date assholes. I guess that's how it is.
Next, you got to go to the source. It's about the source.
Yeah, the source of assholes. Didn't God create assholes? I guess.
So we're in a war against Satan.
Yeah, we're in a big war with Satan, and
sure, Satan, Disney, Fauci. What's the difference?
Satan, he hates thinking.
Yeah, that's the one thing that drives him crazy is the whole thinking.
Yeah,
that's why the tree of knowledge thing was. Oh wait,
he hates science.
Huh? The devil hates science. I see. So, was he the one who I guess killed Copernicus? All right.
And proof. And he hates fact. And he.
Yeah, fact. Well, technically speaking, if he's extratemporal and a spiritual being, he lives in an existence that is beyond material reality, which means all the facts and things that we consider facts, like obviously gravity, shit like that, those aren't facts to him. So maybe they're just annoying.
He hates love, and he hates unity.
That must be exhausting.
Unity and liberty, he hates that. And he.
Are you kidding me? Why? What? One would think, isn't God the one with the rules? So technically speaking, isn't the devil all about liberty? Just a little too much, I guess.
Really hates the liberty of women.
Well, then why does he turn them into libertines?
Really despise that one because.
Then why are religious conservatives trying to limit the freedom of women? Oh, because the devil. I see. So you're saying that like Mike Johnson is Satan. Gotcha. Okay, good. All right. Well, I'm just trying to clarify.
If women are not held down and oppressed, and
like Texas, you mean, or
if they are not, under constant threat of existential threat.
Threat of that's the worst kind. The threat of existential threat. You know what I mean? Like it's like the fear of being scared. You know what I mean? Whew, it's a big. Think about that for a while.
Then he can't.
I have fearophobia. You must be panicked all the time.
Can't get their kids as easy, And that's what he really likes. He likes that kid blood, and that's what keeps him going.
Well, why? There are no kids in hell. Kids automatically go to heaven if they're killed or whatever. So it doesn't matter. The blood won't sustain them because it's a material thing. By the way, that would be is that a fact? Because I think he would hate that. It's a fact that he likes kid blood.
And
isn't kid blood a rapper? Never mind.
You know, if we had stronger moms and women in this world,
then we'd have to stop them because obviously they would be so full of liberty that the devil would hate that. And so luckily we have the government of Texas to
I think that's right where we're sitting now.
Well, the devil hates thinking, so he must hate sitting as well.
We do have that kind of a world now.
No.
Because I think a lot of men are like, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah, that's true. I do that. I say that phrase all the time. As a man, it's one of my go-tos. Hey, wait a minute. Oftentimes when I'm listening to you, I'll say that. Hey, wait a minute.
Hey, wait a minute. We're supposed to be men that protect children. That's why I like that movie that was The Sound of Freedom.
Freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah, even though those guys are whatever, all men are kind of compromised. But anyway.
What? Hey, wait a minute. As a man, hang on. You do realize your son is... Now, maybe that's who she's talking... I see. Okay, maybe that's who she's talking about. By all men, she means her own son.
Was like a wake-up call to men going, wow, look at men. Hey, we're supposed to protect kids. Who knew? Hey, we forgot that one, didn't we? Hey, this is...
Hey! I just saw the devil outside the window.
Some serious shit. We got to get on this.
Yeah, that's what everybody said when they saw that movie. I saw it, and I was like, that's the, when they said based on a true story, this actually isn't what happened. As a matter of fact, neither of these kids was in another country. They were both from like Temecula. They were like north of San Diego. They were the daughter wasn't abducted at all. And they were both like the boy was preyed on, but by the mom, like from their landlord or some shit like that. Like
that blew my mind. That was a good man message that we hadn't heard for maybe ever, but a long time.
Maybe ever? Fuck you. You haven't seen John Wick? Jesus Christ. The man's wife dies of cancer, leaves him a goddamn dog, and then they kill his dog. Fuck you. Man the shit out of that movie.
I mean, it used to be in the Westerns, but we kind of lost that man protector thing.
Kinda. Is it Outlaw Josie Wales? No, it's Pale Rider, where he rapes the woman when he shows up in town, and it comes back to haunt him later on because he's that tough. While we're on the subject of Westerns, Jesus.
Because Satan called it toxic masculinity and the patriarchy and got into people's minds in the mid-'80s and mid-'90s and started bastardizing all of that shit. And he did that to get to the kids. I said that for a long time. Now that we're saying it's Satan, this is great, because I used to think that feminist, but I think it is purely.
Yeah, what's the difference, though? Feminist, Satan, feminists. Honestly, isn't the devil a woman? That's why he attacks men all the time. Get your shit together.
Satan. And he did
separate. That's just one of the ways he did it.
Yeah.
But that's just one of the ways, not the only.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've got so many names.
Only way, yeah.
No, he attacks from all angles, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I blame hot stuff from the old Richie Rich cartoons as normal. The greatest lie the devil ever told was that he's actually friends with Richie Rich.
It's about separating.
This man is swimming in pussy.
The mother and the father and the family unit. I mean, it's clear. And liberty and American exceptionalism, because you can't have a strong family with guns.
And Ukrainian freedom. And Oh, no. So Ukrainians wanting to be free like Americans and loving America and believing in us even more than we believe in ourselves sometimes. Russia attacking them. They're the devil. So Russia's on the right side of Russia's doing God's work in this.
The way he don't like families, and he doesn't like extended families.
Yeah, that's the thing. Satan doesn't like you to have a brother and sister, but he fucking hates when you have cousins. What?
And he doesn't like neighborhoods.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. If I learned anything from the Bible, it's that Satan is anti-suburb. Holy shit. Thanks, Edward, for the super chat. This is fucking amazing. And thank you, Loretta. And Hal, please put proud Biden voter back under your name. It's so good to see. Thank you. Oh yeah, I'll put it on there. It was on the other software. I will add that. Yes.
That are extended families. Nor does he like
neighborhoods that are extended. What? My neighbors are my extended family? You mean I can't have sex with my neighbors anymore? What the fuck?
Communities that.
Yeah, communities. You know, that's why he hates no. He hates communities, so he loves communism. No. He hates communism. He must hate hate communes, community. Sure. It makes total sense. The devil hates communism. Clearly God is a communist. Thanks, Roseanne.
Come together in,
well, he hates circle jerks, obviously.
By and for the people to create legislation that has to do with the children who live in that community and their ability to get educated and have help.
So the devil hates public education. So anybody who speaks against public education, this is fucking nuts. You're right. I should have Tom Arnold on the show. Tom, I know you watch occasionally. Come on the show. I gotta fucking. We don't even have to talk about this nonsense. I just feel bad for you, and I feel like, Jesus Christ.
Healthcare be taken care of and not be used as products to be stolen from their working class mothers largely and put into a foster system to be trafficked by this government. And
but it's okay if they're fostered, they're put in the foster system and trafficked by Trump's government then.
See,
no, I don't actually.
That is what people are starting to see.
Right. Yes. I didn't know where you were going. And then I realized you're not going anywhere. That's okay. I thought I was going to have to try and fit a weird thought in my head, and then there just wasn't one. So good.
And a lot of them haven't seen it yet. A lot of us see it, and
sure, we do. Us, you, me, Marianne Williamson, we all get it.
How worldwide it is, and
oh yeah, Megaworldwide. Oh dear God.
For how long it's been going on, and a lot, not enough, but I think it grows all the time.
Holy shit. I feel like I owe Vladimir Putin an apology because I thought his ramble was bad. I think Tucker Carlson's probably sitting there, well, he's kind of going on a bit, but hey, I could be listening to Roseanne's bullshit like her son is after she just told her own son that men are all compromised.
Really no. And we finally see. And I think 2024, well, I thought it was 2023 was.
Yeah. But I mean, everybody's off. I mean, imagine how embarrassed the 2012 crowd is. And don't get me started on Y2 fucking K.
When we really see, and I think we did.
Yeah, did, do, are, will, can be, maybe.
But 2024 is when we bust down the door.
That's right. We'll bust down the door and realize we have the wrong address. That's rough when that happens.
I hope so.
I hope so. I hope somebody busts down your door this year, Roseanne. That would be hilarious during the podcast when they find out what's on this asshole's hard drive. Because I got to tell you, there's like, he looks like somebody, your son looks like someone who gets a mugshot based on what's on their hard drive. I'm just saying.
But I think that is happening. And
sure, I mean, the door is being basically kicked down. It's already been kicked down if you think about it. But it's still going to get kicked down after it's already been kicked down, thank God.
it's just too apparent.
Oh, I thought you were going to say too hot to handle.
It is so we can see that not only is the emperor naked riding
I would close my drapes if I were
through
you.
town, but
he's dragging a bunch of kids.
Was getting a thrill out of, having everybody to look at his schlong and
I don't think that's how the story in the I don't think that's how the story went. I think the idea was that he had no idea that he was naked and not that he was just perving out. What the fuck do I know? You're the one who can see this all clearly.
Covered in gold.
He thought his schlong was covered in gold?
But that's
wait a minute, don't say yeah. What the fuck?
His schlong and think it was covered in gold.
Why are you nodding at schlong, sir? Sir, what do you do? I know it's your mother, and I know you gotta humor her occasionally, but don't nod when your mom says schlong covered in gold. It's fucking weird.
But that's kind of like now. And
it is. It's a lot like now. It is. That's my bad. You're right. I thought it wasn't, but I was, yeah.
And, they're walking down the street naked.
With golden schlongs? Is this an Austin Powers episode? Did she just see Goldmember for the first time? Can I paint as you who gold? It's kind of my thing. How about no, you crazy Dutch bastard?
Flinging their ding-dongs around in kids' faces and...
Sorry, I had to peel that image out of my brain and throw it away. It is my own like personal version of like anti-Roseanne Reiki I have to do occasionally when I'm listening. Oh God.
Well, ladies like myself, who don't want to see it.
You got something against the color gold, or?
And telling us we have to see it, and.
I'm not saying her son should clear her browser history, but her son should clear her browser history.
That's not enough of a thrill for them.
Well, no, absolutely not. I mean, if you're not going to look.
They now have to spread their butt cheeks and put...
That's her son, by the way, right there. That's her son.
Put it right on our nose.
Wait a minute. Run that by me again. What was they have to do what now?
They now have to spread their butt cheeks and put it right on our nose.
I don't know what version of the Emperor's New Clothes has she been reading?
They can't.
What do you mean, mm-hmm? Don't say mm-hmm to your fucking mom when she's talking like this. She's your mother. Go, Mom, what the fuck are you talking about?
Get enough of the humiliation of the working people. And it just sickens.
I left a rosebud in there for you. Oh.
Me. But
it seems ritualistic. Are you when you say they? I just always like to have people clarify because I know people are listening.
Obviously, she means the wrong kind of Jews. I think is what she called Zelensky.
And you're going, she's talking about gays in New York, and it's not that. So could you just specify a little so we don't get too much trouble?
Why? Because you got to go to New York next week, and some of your friends will get upset, and you haven't told her yet.
Unless you want to get in trouble.
What?
You're talking about the emperor has no clothes. So you're talking about like a worldwide system of child and human trafficking. I mean, let's call it what it is.
Pharaoh.
Pharaoh, you know,
It's
whoever's
a system of
on
Pharaoh,
Epstein Island.
of Babylon. It's a system of Babylon.
A system of Babylon. I see. So that's why you're babbling on. Okay. All right. Now it all starts to make sense.
Began in Babylon, where there's a king, and
Iraq, you mean? In Iraq?
His minions at the very tippy top of it.
Of his golden schlong?
So you're not talking about...
Or are we still talking about his butthole? Oh, God. How did I get trapped in this video?
Like a standard gay guy in New York, at a parade. That's all I'm getting at. I know.
Because I have a parade next week, Mom. And
I know how people think. When you say
I'm also including that. Those are the people right now. That's cancel culture. They're the people walking around swinging their schlongs in everybody's face, including old women like myself that don't want to see their schlongs, and telling us we have to. And then those same people are the ones
spreading their butt cheeks and putting their chocolate starfish on the end of your nose. Yeah, we got that part. Catch me up on who they are. So you're basically saying run-of-the-mill gay people. Great, cool. And so I'm starting to understand why you hate Disney at this point, it seems, because of your preconceived notion about who they are and what kind of programming they make.
I'm saying I'm offensive. Okay, hello? Something's needs to be seen here. Something is happening here.
Mm-hmm. What it is, it ain't exactly clear, though, so...
Remember that Bob Dylan song? And you don't know what it is, do you, Mr. Jones?
Right.
But
I think that wasn't that Hootie and the Blowfish or Counting Crows? Mr. Jones and me.
Something is happening here, and it is like, hey, wait a minute, the guy's fucking naked.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I right along with hang on a minute. That's the other statement I probably say right after hang on a minute. I go, the guy's fucking naked. That those do follow. Oh shit.
Yeah, literally.
And he took all our money.
Huh?
He took
what guy are we talking about? Don't tell her to not bash gay dudes in parades and then go, yeah, literally, sometimes they are.
Oh, you see?
All right, that's it. That's how she ends it. Thanks for wrapping it up. Wow. I gotta say, we might fuck Vladimir Putin, but what I can say about him is that while his ramble is bullshit and manipulative, at least it's more coherent in its craziness than what we just watched from Roseanne. So, also for the record, if you want to see Satan on the planet right now, pretty close to this guy. I mean, literally in the process of lying to you to make it look like he's not culpable for what he's actually doing and is in charge of a lot of death and human trafficking and murder and that kind of stuff and drug trafficking and all that. I would just say it's kind of a little on the nose, actually. Look at the red in the flag. I'm just saying it's kind of telling. Anyways, chat room, I love you guys. I went a little bit long tonight. I'm gonna go watch the rest of that Tucker Carlson interview if I have a piece to pull from it. I'll let you guys know.
See region.
Get out of there. And then I'll see if I can, if there's a fucking point other than the one that I actually pointed out, which is that he's just trying to manipulate Tucker Carlson into saying that this is historical land of ours and we should just be able to take it anytime we fucking want to, which is bullshit insanity. So love you guys. Take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. And I'll see you tomorrow morning. And then regular shows tomorrow. Regular timing on the shows tomorrow. And then after it, more than likely, tomorrow night I'm going to drive back to LA and do the radio show Saturday from LA, God help me. So I'll bring my laptop and the other gear and hopefully it'll work out. Because Nerd Halen is playing LA Kings Fest on Saturday. And then back here Sunday, and then I'm going to be doing my show from out of town either Monday, Tuesday, or Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll figure it out. But anyways, love you guys. Whew, can't believe we made it through. I need to go like wash my fucking brain or something. Yikes. Oh, and another thing. Don't forget to subscribe on Twitch. Our followers are growing like crazy, but we got to get our subscribers up. Just saying. Love you guys. You got it, Lainey. Thanks.